Our anime starts with Rhino and Shindo still in their classroom after their last class for the day. While Shindo is napping on his desk, Reno is complaining to her friend about how difficult the pop quiz they had was. Reno then says it made her hungry and her friend says they should go out to eat. Reno goes over to Shindo and tells him that she'll be home late. Apparently, Reno and Shindo have been secretly living together, something that has made Reno very happy. Later that day, Shindo walks in on Reno after she finishes showering. In true anime fashion, her towel suddenly slips off, but she manages to catch it. As Rhino walks away, Shindo admires her. After Shindo takes a shower, he meets Rhino in the living room to watch some TV. Reno tells him how the show they're watching has been great recently, and that none of the characters is very pretty. Reno then notices Shindo has been quiet and asks if he's okay. She tells Shindo she should be calling him Oni-sama when they're at home together. She starts telling him about the show they're watching in hopes that this will cheer Shindo up, but she suddenly notices that Shindo doesn't look well. When she tries to check his temperature with her palm, she can't seem to tell if he's sick, so she decides to check by gently placing her forehead on his and confirms he doesn't have a fever. She then bids Shindo a good night and heads to her room for the night. Before heading to sleep, Reno decides to use the toilet, but right when she finishes, Shindo suddenly walks in, surprising Reno. Shindo covers his eyes, but Reno pulls him in suddenly so that she can close the door. Coincidentally, Reno's mom suddenly knocks on the door of the comfort room to ask why she screamed, but she just says she found a cockroach and it caught her by surprise. She quickly says goodnight to her mom in hopes that she and Shindo aren't caught. Shindo suddenly hugs Rhino, which catches her off guard. He then shows her his forbidden CPR skills and even some of the secret reflexology techniques he learned from a 1,000-year-old Tibetan monk. Despite not expecting nor wanting anything that is happening, Reno also CPR him in return. After that, Reno sits down and tells him that she didn't want any of that to happen. In a tense moment, she confronts Shindo, expressing fear over his surprising behavior. Ignoring her pleas, Shindo invades her personal space and Reno is once again surprised, pushing Shindo away so that she can distance herself. With heightened emotion, she tells him to recognize the gravity of his actions, pointing out the strange nature of his behavior towards her. She warns him that if he continues ignoring her boundaries, it will most definitely damage their relationship, leading her to grow hatred towards him. The next day, Reno and Shindo are hanging out in the stairwell. While Shindo is doing his duty of sweeping the staircase, Reno tells Shindo that she couldn't sleep because of the shock from what happened, but it's partially her fault because of the clothes she was wearing. She realizes that she dresses up too lightly at home and that she should have considered the fact that Reno was living with her. She apologizes for this mistake, but also tells Shindo he is also at fault for suddenly acting so strangely with her. She then tells him that he should help her study as compensation for what happened. It turns out that Reno dreams of becoming a nursery school teacher and asks if Shindo believes in her. Shindo says yes, and she promises to become one as long as he helps her study. At home, Reno is studying with Shindo, but she is already tired and she decides to rest. Reno tells Shindo that he's smart and that she noticed he stopped the previous day when she told him to stop acting strangely. She also likes how she can talk about anything with him. The fact that he knows how to cook, and how he doesn't look down on women like other guys do, which makes Reno realize she loves him. Shindo suddenly starts preparing Reno so that he can appreciate her. Reno feels a bit uncomfortable because this is her first time being appreciated, but she allows Shindo to keep appreciating her anyway, and tells him that they can learn the best appreciation techniques together. In the beginning, Reno doesn't feel comfortable, but as time goes on, she starts liking the way Shindo appreciates. Shindo appreciates her from all different kind of angles and Reno relishes every single moment. All this appreciation is making Reno fall in love with Shindo even more. Eventually, when the time is right, the continuous appreciation makes Shindo deposit his prized white gold in her bank account as thanks for her support. Afterward, Reno tells Shindo that she felt a bit uncomfortable while he was appreciating her, but because she loves him, it is fine with her. The next morning, Shindo wakes up to Reno cleaning his resolve. This was the first time Reno had ever cleaned anyone's resolve, and she didn't really like it at the beginning, but she eventually started to like it after a bit of time. She then tells Shindo she wants to do a lot more than just cleaning, all because she loves him. Later, while Reno is fast asleep, Shindo suddenly enters her room. Shindo stares at her for a moment, admiring her as she slumbers before heading closer to sit on her back. When he sits down, he takes off her blanket and discovers she's a free-spirited person. Despite Reno being asleep, Shindo starts to give her some reflexology treatment, hoping that she doesn't wake up. For some reason, Reno doesn't wake up, but she does make noises, which means she can sense what Shindu is doing. Shindu then starts to clean out her storage box, which still doesn't wake Reno up. When he realizes she is completely passed out, he starts to appreciate her as gently as he possibly can so he doesn't wake her up. Luckily for him, she's probably a heavy sleeper. Shindu starts appreciating her more intensely, and yet she still doesn't wake up. After a while of appreciating her, Shindu deposits his white gold in her bank account, which still doesn't wake her up. In the morning, Shindu wakes up to Reno wearing a nurse's outfit. Reno asks if he is feeling okay. Reno begins her cosplay acting by pointing out that Reno seemed calm for someone with a fever and that he should still get some more sleep. Shindu then asks why she is wearing the nurse's outfit, and she tells him she wore it so she could nurse him back to health. She even asks if she looks good in what she's wearing, and Shindu says yes. She then makes a joke about doing a medical exam on him. Reno wonders what they can do together while Shindu is sick because they can't do anything too close together, or she might also get sick. Reno then hands Shindu a remote that controls a special cultural wearable device that she is trying out, and he can press it when he wants to activate it. Shindu immediately presses it, and it begins to send cultural shockwaves to Reno, making her feel amazing. The shockwaves made her body shake so much that the device ended up detaching from her. Afterward, Reno asks Shindu to give her a reflexology treatment. She says that it feels better when he gives her the treatment as compared to when she has to practice it herself for self-reliance reasons. Shindu suddenly starts to work on a different part of Reno, which surprises her because she's never applied reflexology treatment on that area herself before. Even though it feels strange, she isn't against it because she just wants to get used to how it feels first. The next day, Reno and Shindu are on the train together. Even though they're standing in public, Shindu decides to give Reno a quick and gentle reflexology treatment again. Reno asks him to stop because she won't be able to stay quiet if he keeps going. She tells him that they can just continue when they get home, but Shindu ignores her and continues to give her the reflexology treatment. Rindu then performs CPR on her while applying his reflexology techniques, and it sort of helps Reno be a bit quieter and not disturb the other passengers. Reno realizes she should be quiet, but she can't because Shindu's techniques are too much for her. The treatment causes Reno's knees to buckle, almost causing her to fall down. When they arrive home, they immediately head to the bedroom so they can finally start appreciating each other. Reno starts cleaning Shindu's resolve. Reno tells Shindu that she loses her mind when she cleans his resolve and thoughts of him fill her mind. Shindu then accidentally spills his white gold, and Reno tries her best to take it all in, despite her struggling to do so. Reno then gets nice and comfortable so that Shindu can start to properly appreciate her. This time, Reno asks him to appreciate her from a special angle that most people don't use because she wants to try it out. Despite the angle feeling a bit uncomfortable, Reno lets Shindu appreciate her at that angle because she loved him. She eventually starts to feel more comfortable with the angle, and Shindu's appreciation of her becomes more powerful as time passes by. It reached a point where it became the right time, and so Shindu deposits his white gold in her bank account. Years go by, and the pair are finally out of school and officially a couple. They no longer lived with Reno's mother house and finally have an apartment of their own. When Shindu arrived home in the evening after a day of being at the office, Reno greeted him while wearing her apron. Seeing this, Shindu immediately gives Reno CPR, who tells her to let her finish preparing their dinner before they do anything else together. In the end, don't forget the like button and algorithm say you well like this video.